Today we're going to explore the whimsical world of William Sim. Beautiful sketches, beautiful painting, whimsical, cutesy, and serious all at the same time. When you see the Instagram of William Sim, aka Merchant of Happiness, you will see all the whimsical creation that he's concocted over the years, and they are really beautiful, meticulous at the same time. How can you be meticulous and cute at the same time? I am not sure, but he managed to pull it off. So today I had the chance to talk to William, and you will benefit from his insights, his years of practicing art, and looking at aesthetics, and especially from his background of design, where he was trained and he practiced that for many years in the commercial world, and now he's bringing us this beautiful creation for us to enjoy. So here we go. Thank you for doing this, William. I've been trying to do this chat with you for a long time. Actually, more than a year. I pinged you like maybe a couple of times last year.
Yes.
And but like all this interview, it's all for fun. There's no pressure, no stress, no deliverable. Whatever it is, just to make sure that we learn something, or I learn something, and then my audience can also learn something from you, and also get to know you
well. So
thank you.
We are quite comfortable. We just talk like an old friend chatting, sharing things.
Yeah. So maybe I start with this. So if I ask a question, William, who are you? Can I say, how do I explain who William is to, let's say, somebody who wants to know you, from let's say, who is interested in your art?
I am now actually label myself as an illustrator. So what I'm actually trying to do is to mix illustration and art together. And me and my collaborator Lars, I'm doing painting, doing exhibition, and Lars is doing a lot of sculpture, and then I will help him do all the coloring and things like that. So we recently have this concept of a visual art platform whereby people, we have to have more open-minded towards our creative process, as in we do not label ourselves as, oh, you are illustrator, I'm an artist, or he's a designer. So anything can fuse together. So if you look at the Western world, in fact they all started long ago. So a fashion designer can show their work painting through exhibition, or an artist can actually work with a fashion apparel company to come up with the merchandises. So we think that this somehow it is a direction to go, and it will influence the rest of the world. And in fact, I think Singapore is getting more and more obvious. You look at all the young creative people, they have a different kind of platform. They do performing arts, they do painting, they do photography. They can mix them together as long as they come up something to have a certain message to bring. And I think that's quite interesting. Yeah.
Actually, that's a very interesting concept. As in, art is not purely on standalone basis.
Yes.
But the platform is about how it involves into fashion, into all sorts of how human play, live, and basically being, right?
Yes.
And so maybe just from your, maybe I'm also interested in your journey, because you've been doing art, practicing art for a long time, right?
Yes.
And maybe tell us a little bit about your history, if you don't mind.
Oh, I came from a small town in not really a town, like a city like Muar. I came from Muar when I was young.
Oh, I always thought you came from Malacca.
Yeah. Eventually, I actually moved back to Malacca.
Right.
So that's why before I moved to Singapore, I came to Singapore to study. I officially came from Malacca because I stayed there. So when I was young, I took a watercolor lesson under my watercolor teacher. His name is Tamboiti. That's how actually I came to know how to draw watercolor. And he's one of the pioneer artists in Malaysia. So during younger days, I like to draw. I like to doodle. I like to take out paper, draw a lot of cartoon and things like that. So I think my family noticed that, and then they kind of asked me whether if I'm interested to take up some drawing lessons but actually it was a small town so that Mr. Tan was very good because we were from different kampong. Some were from rural area, so every weekend he would drive he will drive around to pick all of us to go to a central location. Then we do a lot of he started to set up things, put bread around, put vase around, and then
still life,
yes. And then sometimes we also go out to actually draw a lot of outdoors things like stream, paddy field, those like a hillside, anything lah. So it's just very fun, very carefree, and that was how I started. Yeah,
that's how the best. Yeah,
correct. And then it's all planted lah. So more and more I actually into drawing. So I end up kind of like turn to another angle. I used to be a science stream student.
Okay.
So my family expect me to do
engineering or something.
Some form of like, at least it's science related. So during that time it was a bit of a rebellious thing going on, happiness going on. So I end up in NAFA. I took NAFA entrance test. So and I because to please my family, so end up I choose design instead of fine art. Right. Initially, I wanted to do fine art, but end of the day, it's kind of a compromiser to make them happy, and end of the day to make sure that they are less worried end of the day. So I took design, and I graduated as a major in illustration. Somehow it's still linked back.
Come back to illustration. So you still have illustration. Except the word is design.
Correct. Yeah, so it's undercover. I was in design line for quite a few years, and I also worked in a game company. During the 90s, I think there was like a lot of software games, CD-ROM game and things like that. Yeah. So I worked in a company for about 7 years, and I started as a background artist. So draw background for games, and I moved all the way up to be their chief illustrator. So I handle a group of people in Malaysia and Singapore. So and then things get a bit because when you are taking care of bigger groups, so end of the day you will actually contact with the drawing is lesser and lesser. So every day
more management.
You're more like a management. So you every day you just go through a meeting, video conferencing, and things like that. So at one point, I thought, I should put a stop. So I came out to join my friend doing like a small little setup for graphic design. So
your own shop, basically.
Yeah, our own shop. So we did graphic design for about 15 years. 15 years, and slowly, and then we became more and more interested in drawing, and we started exhibiting, and then he started to do sculpture. That's how we came about my life journey.
Did you do any more training anymore, or no? That's it. You from that on actually you don't really.
No, I don't.
You already have all the basics that you need anyway. And plus your illustration design career gave you more than enough.
Yes, I think the most important things for creative people is that how much thing you see, because along the way when you start to do your work and you start to become involved with arts, you tend to visit a lot of exhibition. You start to see more things, and then these are the things that you will slowly change your perception. So I think I will learn along the way, perfect along the way.
Thank you. That's a very interesting journey. I didn't know that part about you, William. So I learned something about you today. And thank you for sharing, right?
No problem.
And so maybe we move on to the part where, we want to know about the type of art, right? You already talked about your visual art platform. But maybe you want to go deeper around the type of art that you want to make.
Okay, because my background, I used to involve in game design, so I came to know Japan anime, and I kind of like Hayao Miyazaki work. I'm sure you've seen some of his movie. That somehow actually planted very deeply inside me. But of course, as I started to do arts, right, I went through a lot of a period of time where I had to position myself, because I'm a design trained, so
yeah.
I think I need to get a concept to start with.
Yep.
So I'm not like like a fine art artist where sometimes you just came from a form of expression
Yep.
or emotion outpour and things like that. But for me, I need to have a concept. So during that time, it was a period that I was wonder what should I do. My main concern is that if I started as a pop art. I do a lot of colorful stuff and things like that.
Yeah, we've seen your work. And I'll be inserting some of these images into the discussion as well.
And I think I got a lot of feedback from the exhibition. Of course, some people thought that my work is a bit more on the childish side. So that actually put me in quite a... I wasn't deterred by that comment, but more like what kind of direction I want. I'm thinking more like in the long run. So during that time I was a bit confused. So my collaborator Lash actually told me that just do whatever you like.
Yeah.
If you like anime, you just do anime.
Don't have to explain why.
Yeah, and then I like musical stuff. So I start to draw, just get rid of all the pressure, get rid of all the perception.
Yeah.
And then just ignore whatever people tell you.
Express.
Just do yourself. Just do whatever you like.
Yeah.
So that was the end up. I actually did a lot of flying things. A melon that flying in the sky. A little machine that traveling on the water in the middle of the ocean and things like that.
Yeah.
And it came out quite well. A lot of people like it, and somehow people thought that my work is quite light-hearted. So people look at my work, they think, I felt. It is not like 100% happy, but somehow it actually made somebody's I actually got rid of my worry for a while. So I thought that spirit, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
And I have been using that for past 12 years. Yeah. So year after year, I just came out with a different topic, but it's all about whimsical, about things that I don't get in the real life.
Yeah. So you allow your audience to suspend their day-to-day for a while they are immersed in your little whimsical world.
Yes.
Of cutesy, I won't say cutesy, sometimes they're actually quite
I don't mind
complicated.
I don't mind
but it has got a sense of that, a bit of a cutesy anime, but there's a bit of serious work, because you see the line, those are serious lines.
Yes.
Right? They are not chinchai kind of line.
According to that direction, I wanted whatever thing that I'm doing with, I want it to be the local can have a form of relation. They can connect to the things.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do like so Japanese or so Western.
Right.
So somehow as an artist, we have to showcase things that around our surrounding.
For sure.
And people can actually relate to that.
Yeah.
And I start.
If it's too far off, then what you're saying is that if it's too far off, too Japanese, it's like, I live in Singapore. I can't really relate to an anime of, yes, I relate to anime, but not my culture, right?
Correct.
So you still want to embed the local culture, the local feel for. Yeah.
No, somehow I have to, because I stay in Singapore, so I do see a lot of things. I do see interesting building. I see a lot. I heard a lot of stories. So these are all the things that I can share in my work. But the most important is that I want people to appreciate little things in their life, because during at one point of time, we talk about how boring Singapore can be, we work very hard, and then everybody chasing for money, for career, things like that. So I start to think that I do believe that beside I used to work very hard too. So
you're working very hard too, I'm sure.
So end of the day, when I go back home, I have a pet. I talk to my mom, and these are the little things that I quite enjoy. So I thought. These are all the things I should highlight to let people know, and never take them for granted, because when you go back, your daughter share her life in the school with you, and these are all the precious moments. Nothing so majestic or important, but then somehow it is very close to you, and it's something that very very dear to you. And I want that message to be into my series of work.
I think that's so meaningful.
Yes.
I can understand it because all the time when you're growing up, when you're younger, and you're thinking about the brilliant saving the world type thing,
Yes.
I mean, today the youth will be about sustainability. It's about all the big thing, right?
Yes.
But actually, when you think about it, and when you live your life a little, you actually think, wow, it's that morning coffee that my wife makes me, or it's that cake that my daughter baked,
yes.
or it's that moment that we shared because there was a joke or a little, and and that matters so much more, right?
Yes.
And I think I think it's extremely meaningful. I do see. When I look at your work now, I can see it in a fresh light, and I'll appreciate that a little bit from that perspective, your intent, and I can understand where that's going because, like I said, the whimsical, right, and you describe it really well, the whimsical, and then yet when I see it, there's all these fine lines, the detail of that life or you're trying to capture, right? So I guess what you're describing is bringing your audience back into that. The moment that matters, and they're not a big thing, they're the little things in life, right?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you for that. Next set of question, maybe around how your process of creating art, right? Let's say you say you start with concept, but maybe you want to take us through like the journey, right? From the time you create a piece of art, do you make the one piece start to beginning, or do you come back to it many times over months or whatever it is? You describe your process.
I always start with one piece of work. I will complete it no matter how. So I don't have a tendency of leaving it around unless I somehow I realized some problem. I couldn't figure out what went wrong. But that was like a very rare kind of thing.
So your process is straight through beginning and finish.
Yes.
And how long does it typically take you for your exhibition type art? They are usually half sheet, one full sheet.
I always plan as a whole period of a year. So the first half a year, almost like a 4 month, 5 month will be more like a sketching, drawing, line work, determine what I do for my exhibition. I always plan my exhibition like a fashion show. It's like a show. So it has to be thoroughly thought out and with a certain theme.
Yeah.
I don't like my work as a chapalang, everybody, when people go into the exhibition, they start to, what happened, this and that, I cannot match. So I want people to have a very comfortable flow of my things. So like for instance, like 1 year I was inspired by Chinese lantern during Chinese New Year, and I started with a one piece of drawing, so I liked it. So I thought, okay, why don't I this year I do away all the botany or maybe whimsical. It's still whimsical, but this year I'll focus all on the lantern.
I think I saw that show.
Yeah. So the lantern morphed as a marked skitterfish. A lantern can be a lobster. Lantern can be seahorses. So that's how I plan my exhibition.
So that theme of lantern carries through every single piece.
Yes.
Right. Sometimes I notice you try to hide it in a small corner somewhere, but it's there.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
the theme is there. It's just that it's kind of hidden, right?
Yes.
But I guess now I understand. So you plan it. It's like a fashion show, but you plan it for the year. How many shows do you do a year these days?
Normally I do for 1 year once. So for the first 10 years I did have a 10 exhibition, but last 2 years I actually took a break. So I kind of like after 5-10 years I need to figure out what should I do. So I actually took a kind of break for 2 years plus. Also because of COVID lah. So it happens that
it's kind of nice to take a break as well.
Yeah. So
not getting audience is no fun. Yeah, virtual is no fun.
I don't like virtual. You know me. I hate when you ask me to Zoom me. I say no.
I remember asking you to do this, and you're like, no, let's not do it this way.
I don't like to stare at the monitor, or I don't like to.
This is so much more real.
Yeah. I'm a kind of person that intrigued by object and sense of touching and thing. So you ask me, I like to read the real copy of book. I don't like ebook. So it's just me. It's just a personal thing. So it's more like a personal kind of preference. So I took a two years break, and I during the COVID period, I was stuck at home, so I got nothing to do. So I did have some automation project going on, but I still have a Zoom meeting occasionally. I mean,
for work,
whenever
we
I
still need
choice.
yeah.
So I start to rearrange my things. Because I used to be a toy collector. I collected a lot of toys, a lot of tin toys and things like that. And I thought of, okay, why not I do some form of work for myself, for my own keeping, because I've been busy, doing a lot of exhibition, I know, showcasing my work and things like that, but I didn't actually have time to do something for myself. So I set my mind that I wanted to do my Masak-Masak corner.
Yes.
So that is the project that I actually explore. When people start in a very limited space, right? How can you survive? So, of course, for me, it's like, you have to dress it nicely, very cozy, put a lot of things. So I started to rearrange my toy, rearrange things that I collected for the past 10-15 years. It gave me the idea of the Masak-Masak corner.
Right. So this is not going to be exhibited. This is for yourself.
I I might show them, but not for sales, not for collector to buy. It's more for my personal keeping. But if any collector who want to commission me or like certain piece, I can commission a certain piece, but I still keep the original.
Okay.
That's how I.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. Is there a date that you have set?
No, I hope I can reach 100 pieces. So currently I'm actually at 84.
Well done. You're nearly there. So you just gotta set a date now. Actually, you're almost there.
After 100, I'm not sure. I might continue to 200, or I might start with a new series of work, or I might be back showing exhibition and things like that. So
are they half sheet, full sheets, or combination of small?
My Masak corner is very small. It's like 21 cm by 21 cm. Just selfishly for me to keep easily at home. So it was because of
I have the same problem. I mean, all my sketches it used to be in sketchbook.
Yes.
I have to tear them out, cut off, and then now put them in folder so that I can put it front and back, right?
Yeah, and I also had a thinking that because now my eyesight is very good, so I can challenge myself to do in a very small one. So in the form of like exercise for me because my works are all full of details.
Yeah.
So as how detailed I can be, during the Masak-Masak series, I actually stretch myself. So to be as detailed as possible. And not so stiff, so you know what.
Ooh, so that will be slightly quite different.
It's kind of
because to be fair, your work is very fine and very controlled, right?
Yes.
But that's how you have always painted.
Yes.
And they're beautiful. But
you.
to see you loosen up, that would be a very interesting way of. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Losing up myself is always a constant thing that I looking for. I'm always watching out for that, because being whether I go out sketch with you guys or I do my work, I always remind myself that it cannot be too stiff. So I don't want myself to be too stiff. So that's why that is a constant reminder. And then for people who do arts, right? It's always that kind of too extreme. When you're doing things in full detail, you tend to be very stiff.
Yeah.
When you are doing a very expressive way of drawing, it can be sometimes too wild.
Yeah.
And it's lost control, and
Yeah.
people think, what happened?
Yes.
So
I have that problem. I'm on that extreme most
Yes,
of the
you
time.
are on the other side.
Yeah. So actually, we are kind of on the opposite end of approach to art. In fact, I cannot do detail, right? I just can't.
But I appreciate people who draw very expressive stuff, because I think as a creative person, we have to be more open to ourselves.
Correct.
That's why we can actually, when you open up yourself, you can absorb more things.
Yeah.
So do not try to be so narrow into, I like certain thing, I don't like certain thing, I only like to see this kind of thing, I don't like to see that kind of thing. That is not the right attitude for creative people.
I agree with you. Yeah. It's about being open to yourself as well as being open to new approach.
Yes.
And challenge yourself every now and then to be not yourself too much, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe I would love to hear your what are your struggles, right? And what are you working on so that you can deal with your struggles in regards to the practice of art, that is?
My struggle, I don't know whether, well, like sometimes when you do arts, you do have some technical issue. Like sometimes certain pieces that compositions are not right, or sometimes just maybe a wrong paper, wrong color, things like that.
Yeah, I saw that you are onto Saunders, one of it.
Yeah.
So
I'm
sure you used it before.
My most favorite paper is still Bokenford. Bokenford, the cold press. 300 gram. That has been the
Staple,
major the paper I use for my exhibition pieces. Struggle more like okay. For myself, I'm actually more kind of like too overwhelmed with images. So I don't have the
sensory
moment.
overload.
Yes. I don't have the moment where I got nothing to do. I got a lot of bottleneck. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
In fact, I got too much thing to do. But sometimes I can be too out of control.
Yeah.
So my struggle would be more like how to pull things back and make myself settle down to consolidate things that is effective to be shown.
Yeah.
So I think that is my major I call it problems. So it's every year it repeat by itself, and then my collaborator will say, hey, you are too much already, so you are thinking too much, so many things, can you narrow down this, narrow down that? So Lars is always the person who curate my work internally.
Right.
He knows that sometimes I can be too excited. Or I can watch one movie and then I'm a Cancerian. So after I watch one movie, I get so excited and so overwhelmed, and then I start I feel like changing my direction, and then Lars will say, but you are in the midst of preparing. So I always have that kind of moment. I think that could be one of my so-called problems.
I think that's generally an artist problem. Because artists are generally about possibility. And the world, when you stand and observe, you see 5 possibilities, but you're limited by your 24 hours a day.
Yes.
You can't do possibly everything you can see.
Yes.
So therefore your mind is exploding with possibility, and you're like, you're chasing after butterfly in a garden.
We are not the good management people.
Yeah. I mean, generally that's I have the same problem. Even at work, I have slight issue that's a different story. So that's one very interesting aspect on in terms of dealing with the world of possibility, and then getting attracted, and then going down a rabbit hole, and then getting pulled back, right?
Yes.
Maybe you want to talk about the people surrounding you. Those are supportive. You talk about Lars, your collaborator.
Yes.
Do you find that there is a need for artists to surround themselves with fellow artists of some sort, or collaborator, or being part of a fraternity, or being part of a group? Maybe not always constantly, but talk about your fraternity, talk about your network beside Lars, for example.
I am, I'm an introvert person. So for me, I always work my thing against the norm. I'm not purposely moved to that kind of direction, but it's more like for
natural.
myself. I don't interact with. I don't interact too much with people. In fact, I see a lot of exhibition, but I normally don't go on during the opening day. So a lot of artists don't even know that I actually went to see the exhibition. But sometimes I know the artist so well that I can remember which year, what kind of drawing that he had been producing. So so they're only a small group of people who I find that our chemistry can go very well. So we enjoy drawing together. Not too hustle.
Yeah.
I hate people to very sticky to me. I don't mind to share. I don't mind to comment and things like that. But I like to be more carefree when it comes to drawing. I don't have any ambitions. I don't have anything that I want to do how many pieces. This year I do 20 pieces, next year I do 30 pieces.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of ambition.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The most important is that I must enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I kind of treat it like a more relaxed manner. So you do see sometimes I can be quite passive about things. Yeah, I mean it's directly opposite of yourself, because you are always on the move and look out for things. And
I'm a go-getter in that sense. Yeah.
So for
the
me,
quality doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but for me, I'm not like I'm quite scared by So
all
many
these goal
things.
settings and
Yes.
But you know, actually we have one commonality, and to us both, the process more than anything else.
Yes.
Right? Because
yes.
if you think about it, right, I don't really mind so much the quality of the work at the end of it, but
Yes.
I want to be connected to the people that I know, or maybe even get to know a few new friends. Okay, I'm kind of opposite, right? I'm the extrovert,
Yes.
and you would have your inner group that you
Yes.
hang out with, but I actually don't mind. I butterfly around, and so it's very interesting, and both.
Because
but,
you enjoy doing that.
yeah,
But for me,
that's right.
I
So I just do
enjoy
that.
doing
Right?
that. Yeah.
So it's not a criticism or right or wrong.
No,
But the
no,
fact
it's
is
just
that
a
in the
character.
art world, you have both introvert like yourself or the extrovert like myself. And actually, we are probably the book ends of the spectrum, and we will actually enjoy the process. But the commonality is actually we enjoy the process of creating art, however it is. But actually, that's the point that I want to emphasize to the audience. At the end of the day, if you enjoy your art, your personality will shine through. And don't get too hung up about how other people criticizing or not giving your view or whatever it is, But you must find that balance, right?
Yes.
So that you are practicing art constantly, partly for yourself, partly for others, but mostly for yourself.
I would say mostly for myself. Well, I guess along the way when you start to do work more and your message get brought across, people start to recognize your work and can relate to your work. It tends to be more convenient in the sense that people might not need to talk to me, but they know my work. So sometimes it's quite heartwarming to know people who leave a message that some comments that actually, I didn't actually realize that, but the person actually brought it up through observing my work. So these are the things that's quite, I would say, quite magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's brilliant.
And but what I feel is that even when we are doing art, so we can be quite a lot of freedom, enjoy ourselves. But when I come to exhibition, it is about a responsibility.
To sponsor your buyer or your audience?
Even to people who walk into the exhibition.
Audience,
Because you have the, like to draw, to create as a leisurely, and when you have something to show, that involves more professional standard.
Yeah.
So somehow you still have to drag yourself and think about what kind of quality of things I can produce. So like every year I will draw about 25 pieces. I will only show 20 pieces. 5 will go to my cabinet because I don't like it, and maybe sometimes last year this piece is crap. Don't show because it will affect your standard perhaps. I think that.
But that's quality control.
The quality control is essential when it comes to showing, because people don't spend few hours just for fun.
Yeah.
People do spend their time to come down to view your work. I think that we have to be responsible for that.
Yeah,
It's like a good performance. It's like a good musician. They don't want to screw up their performance.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
If someone take the time out of a Saturday or a Sunday or even weekday and take a couple of hours, travel, go to your show, spend time looking at the detail of your work and talk to you about what your work represent and all that.
Yes.
It's a form of respect to use the best material you can, to use the best methods of creation that you can create. And it's a form of respect to the time that they have given you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that sentiment. I think that is how artists should view their work, with a bit of a sense of professionalism. I think that's the word you're using, right?
And also, as an artist, we also need to be business-minded as well.
Yeah.
So nobody want to. I mean, there's a lot of weird perception out there, like artists can do free job, can donate their work for charity, but end of the day, artists we need to fill our stomach. We need to feed ourselves.
Absolutely.
So as when you talk about that, then artists it's a job. It's a career.
Yeah.
So we have to be more somehow also need to be more business minded as well. So when it comes to a collaboration, a project, quotation and things like that, paperwork, agreement letter and things like that.
Contract, whatever it is.
well,
Yes,
we
prim
have
and
to
proper.
get down our eyes and to do all the things.
Yeah,
So
no,
that's-
actually, I fully agree with you. I think a lot of people have the wrong conception that artist is just, money drop from the sky, right? But that's not true. So actually, I agree with you. I don't give my art for charity at all. That is actually a policy.
Yes.
And when people come to me, I say, look, I'll give you money for charity if I want to.
They should at least acknowledge the effort of the artist. So don't. I mean, like sometimes we most of the artists, that especially when they are on the way up, their life can be quite a struggle, because I mean, not their life, their materials are not so efficient. So I mean, they don't earn enough money and things like that. So we have to help them. And if everybody so selflessly think that, art can be shared, art can be do this, can be free, and at the end of the day, we are just discourage those young people to join the trade. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So actually, art for charity, you have to think twice, because it doesn't always necessarily help the artist in the long run. Again, lots of thoughts need to go in.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's one phrase I never accept, is that whenever I get a call and the people say, when you can produce your work and we can actually showcase for you, we actually promote for you. When I hear that, I'll just end the conversation.
They do not know what they're talking about. They're not actually supporting the artist. They're killing the whole art scene. Okay, good. Maybe a couple of last thoughts. One is just to ask you around, what sort of legacy would you like to leave behind? I mean, this is a big question, right? I mean, what, in 100 years, let's say, someone looking at you and so on. I mean, I think you already kind of touched a little bit about that, but you give you the chance to talk about, in 100 years, someone looking at your work, right? Maybe some part of we have, somehow we have a museum and a corner there. It's William's work. Okay, you don't like the idea. Forget about that. Just somehow somebody discovered your work, right? Because the collector has kept it. In 100 years, someone saw your work.
That would be good.
What would you like them to, what would you like to have them think, feel, whatever,
Of course, if after 100 years my work can showcase like Vincent Van Gogh out there at the top quality museum, it'd be good.
Never say no.
It'd be, of course, I will be happy. I'll be smiling up there. But end of the day, but when you think realistically, when you pass on, you don't feel anything. You unless I can see from the sky, then I want the thing can go on, and probably I will just participate.
Well,
in
regardless of what happens,
curating the show as well. But if I'm gone one day and I do not have any feeling, or I don't feel anything, I think it's no longer important. But what important is that it's current, how my work can change people. I know where I came from. I always take a very against a normal kind of approach. I don't anticipate my reward will be as big as those that follow the main approach. So for me, during this COVID period, I received quite a number of private messages from people all over the world, and they thought, they went through a lot of difficult times, and how actually they actually enjoy my work and looking forward to my posts on Instagram. I think just based on that, it is quite meaningful for me.
I understand. I fully appreciate it.
I always remember that the first time I felt very touched was, I think it was 7 years back. I was in a Novena food court. I remember there was this little girl. I was just just bought my lunch, and in the middle of buying my lunch and things like that. And then this little girl, secondary 3 or something. So she suddenly turned to me. I said, oh hi. Then she said, "Are you William Sim?" I said, "Oh yes." He said, you know that I went to during the time I have some outdoor showcase at the Fullerton Hotel outside of Fullerton.
Yes.
He said, "I saw your work at that place, and then I like your work so much." And then that was that moment that changed my life, because I can remember her eyes is like sparkle. And that's very honest, because
there's no lie in it.
You like people who kaya gu you, the kind that you can feel that okay, then you know that it's not so honest. But from a little girl like that, I think that's so cool. I can say it's very meaningful for me. And
so I can summarize it, the legacy you want to leave is actually touching people. It's not so much about your great art in museum, but really
it would be nice, but not important.
if you can touch all these people's life in some way, inspire them, and leave a spark with them.
Plant a seed of creativity in them, or maybe inspire them to pursue what they want to do in the future.
Very good. Last question.
Yes.
To my audience, when they are starting out new sketcher, and so on, maybe a one or two advice that you have for them as a young sketcher or newbie. Some of these people are actually retiring or retired.
You mean when they are not so familiar with the technical part yet?
What one, two thing, what are the thoughts that you might have for them? Advice, general.
Could you very practical? What I always share is that if you like drawing, do not afraid to try, and because some people they are so overanalyze their result. So I just tell them that okay, at the moment when you start your first sketch versus the number 10 that you have done, the 10 one is always better than number 1, the first one.
Always.
And when you after you complete the 100 pieces of sketch, the 100 one will definitely better than the 50 one. So at the end of the day, it's like that. I think for a leisure sketch, more important is to enjoy yourself.
Don't worry about the outcome.
I always believe that there's always I call it a visual diary. Visual diary is quite interesting because you can record things that not using only words but the visual, the drawing. So it can be simple, it can be not so perfect, but somehow when you look back, right, certain thing that you have done, the drawing, it actually stay on in our mind for a very, very long time. I'm sure you have that kind of experience.
For sure.
So I get that's quite good. And I think it's the best. The most important thing is to enjoy your.
I fully agree.
The process, lah. I think that's how it can make you continue in a very, very long period of time without making yourself disappointed with some outcomes.
Great. I thought today I got to know a little bit more about you, a bit of your history and your thought process. And whenever I see your show in the future, I clearly will see with the with the lens that you've given me. And being the detail everyday thing rather than the big eternity kind of stuff, but the little touch, the human connection, or the little things in life. No, thank you for that, William. I really enjoyed the conversation. I hope my audience will also enjoy the conversation.
I hope
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.